25 in the Unit 3 percent packet. As you can see, I'm on here at page 25 now. I have two pages up here, 25 and 26. So on 25, you should only see this page. So this is the review sheet. This is the review sheet for Unit 3. I know it says Part 2, but you can just kind of get rid of that. So I'm going to kind of walk you through this, give you some tips and suggestions. This is going to be due in a few days. I put the date in Google Classroom. It's also written on the board in school, but I'll keep reminding you about this review sheet as we go. So I'm going to give you some pointers and tips here. So on page 25, this is the conversions we've been working on. So we have a percent column, fractions, and decimals. Remember, percents are always out of 100. Above where it says fraction, make sure to write simplify. That will remind you to simplify if you can. When you come to a fraction that can be simplified. Now, with a fraction like this, that 14/20ths, remember, percents are always out of 100, so you might have to change that fraction to make it out of 100. Of course, we have the decimals here, and we have the grid that you can fill in. So this will be the first page of the review sheet. The next thing I do, after that, I should have done this first, actually, is write the 9 numbers on the bottom. This is not only going to help you on this page, but the entire test. These numbers can be helpful in working with percents because these are the factors of 100. 10. So when you take the test, this is going to be what the first page looks like. It's not going to be the same numbers, but it's going to be very similar. Here we go. All right, so let's take a look at page 26. Now, on 9, 10, and 11, what I'd recommend using for each one of these is the percent proportion. Okay? And when you use percent proportion, like for number 9, for example, make sure you write it every time you use it. Part over whole equals percent over 100. Now, when doing a problem like this, you just got to be real careful as to know what kind of numbers you have. So you want to think, is this 28%, is that the percent part or whole? And then is the 575 the percent part or whole? Remember, keep in mind that when you see the word of, any number that follows the word of is the whole. So that may be a helpful hint for not only this page, but as you continue with the review sheet. So number 10, I would also recommend using percent proportion. And for number 11, I would also recommend using percent proportion. As you can see here, it does say use percent proportion. So we're going to use percent proportion for 9, 10, and 11. That's probably your best bet. There are other strategies you could use. You could use double number line there. Remember, you can only use percent times the whole if you have the percent and the whole. All right, let's check out page 27. So for number 12, it says you may use percent proportion or bar diagram. Well, or you can draw a double number line instead if you like double number lines. Or if you just like percent proportion, you can use it for number 12 as well. Remember to think about and label your numbers. Are they the percent, part, or whole? Now, number 13, this is not a percent problem. Number 13 is asking you to use the answer for number 12 to find out how much you'd pay for the item after the discount. So I would even write that down. This is not a percent problem. You're not using percent proportion. You're not using a double number line or whole times percent. This is actually a subtraction problem. So when you come to number 13, don't overthink that one. If you have any questions about that one, let me know. All right, on the last page, number 14, I'd recommend using percent proportion, or you could do a double number line instead of a bar diagram. We're using double number lines instead. Or you can just use a percent proportion. So for all the problems that came before, all the word problems and sort of the longer problems, you could use percent proportion for all of them. Part over whole equals percent over 100. This number 15, you could use percent proportion for this. However, the other method you could use, it says using multiplication. So you can do the whole times the percent equals the part. Now, the only thing here is that you need to write that percent as a decimal. And that percent as a decimal, 38% would be 3,800. So if you wanted to use this method, you could. You could try to use percent proportion there. The only thing is that you might wind up with a decimal. All right, so that is the review sheet for percents. Again, the due date for this is going to be on Google Classroom. It's also going to be at school. I'll remind you at school when this is going to be due, but let me know if you have any questions as you're working on this. But again, the biggest strategy here is going to be percent proportion. All right, so today what we're going to do is we're going to work on percent proportion a little bit more. So we're going to be solving some problems using that strategy, which of course isn't the only one, but it can be the most effective one. All right, so we're going to be on page, check, 17. And this is an interesting question. It says, there are 60 animal exhibits at the zoo. What percent of the zoo's exhibits does each animal class represent? So whenever solving a percent problem, it's always a good idea to think about what kind of numbers we have. So it says there are 60 animal exhibits at the local zoo. That's 60. What would that 60 be? Would it be the part, the whole, or the percent? Well, it's definitely not the percent. So it's either the part or the whole. There are 60 animal exhibits at the zoo. I'm thinking that that is going to be the whole because that's all of them. It's asking what percent. So we don't know the percent. We're looking for the percent. And then you have some animals listed down here, some types of animals, and then number of exhibits. So 30, 15, 12, and 3. And then it says percent of the total exhibits. That 30, okay, that seems to be like a part. And so does the 15. That's a part of the exhibit. So it's not all of them, it's just part of them. Fish and insects is 12. That's part of them, not all of them. And then birds, again, that's part of them, not all of them. So we're finding here, it looks to be, we're finding the percents based on all of these parts. Now, here's the thing. If you think about this, this first one isn't that tough. So 30 animal exhibits out of 60. So I'm going to write that as a fraction. 30 out of 60. I'm going to write that down here. Actually, you know what? I'll set it up as a percent proportion. Part over whole equals percent over 100. So this is for mammals. I'll put an M here. This is for mammals. The part would be 30 out of 60. The whole is 60. We don't know the percent, and that's always out of 100. Now, here's the thing. You can't really get from 60 to 100 that easily, but if you look at this fraction, isn't that half? 30 is half of 60. So what would half be as a percent? That would be 50%. Now, just to prove that to be true, let's see here. What could we divide 30 and 60 by? Well, if we divide 60, we could do a couple different ways. I'm going to divide by 6. Because if we divide by 6, that'll get us to 10. And if we get to 10, we can get to 100. And then what's 30 divided by 6 is 5. So 5 out of 10 are mammal. That's also a half. And then to get from 10 to 100, we'll multiply by 10 on the bottom and on the top, times 10. And that's going to be 50. I'm just taking a pause here because I have a special guest that I need to speak to for a moment. I'll be back in a second. All right. So 50%, or 50 out of 100, which is a percent, is how many or what percent of mammals are at the zoo. Now, if you take a look at these numbers, there's half as many reptiles and amphibians. So it went from 30 mammal exhibits to 15 reptiles and amphibians. Well, the percent would also be cut in half as well. So what's half of 50? That would be 25%. Okay? So sometimes if you have a percentage, you can use it to help you find other percentages or even other parts or other wholes. All right, so fish and insects is 12 out of 60. Well, we might have to use a strategy here. We might have to use percent proportion. Let's see. So we have fish and insects, because I can't really get from 15 to 12 easily. So let's see what we got here. Part over whole equals percent over 100. The part would be 12. That's how many fish and insect exhibits there are out of 60 is still the whole. That's how many total exhibits there are. The percent we don't know, and that's out of 100. Okay. All right, so you know what? I'm gonna divide by the same thing I did before, which was 6, because I know if I divide by 6, I can get to 10. If I get to 10, I can get to 100, because I can't get directly from 60 to 100. So this is another 2-step one here. So we'll divide by 6. It's nice because 6 goes into 12 as well, which is nice. 60 divided by 6 is 10, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So now we can get to 100 by multiplying by 10. Times 10 on the bottom, times 10 on the top, and you get 2 times 10, which is 20. All right, that's pretty close to 25%, which makes sense because 15 and 12 are kind of similar as well. Now here's the thing. If you notice here, fish and insects has 12, birds is 3. Well, when we got the percent for the reptiles and amphibians, what we did is we just cut it in half. 30 divided by 2 is 5. 50% divided by 2 is 25. Well, we can get from 12 to 3 by dividing by 4. So if we do 20 divided by 4, that would get us the percent of birds. So 20 divided by 4 would be 5%. All right. So when you add these up, it should be 100% because this is all the exhibits. So if you add that up, 50 plus 25 is 75, plus 20% is 95, plus 5%, that's 100%, that's everything. So that would make sense that if you add those all up, you get 100%. Nice. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to practice some more of percent proportion. Some of these will be 1 step, some of these will be 2. If you feel comfortable, we're going to do the first one together. If you feel comfortable, you can try the next 2 on your own or kind of go ahead of me and do them as I'm doing them. Either way, whatever's more comfortable for you. Now, we're kind of going to ignore some of these questions. Letter A is just asking us what's the percent part or whole. So we're just going to label it in the question. And then we'll try B, which is actually answering the question. So it says a sweater is regularly $32. The key word there is regularly. That's like the original price. That's the normal price. So I'm thinking that that's the whole. That's the whole price normally. It is 25% off the original price this week. Oh, that's the discount. So that would be the percent. It says, would the amount the shopper saved be considered the part, whole, or percent? Well, we already have the whole. That's the regular price. We already have the percent. So that would be the part. The shopper's not going to save the whole price. They're only going to save part of the price. And then it says, how much would a shopper save by buying the sweater? Okay, now it says show 2 methods. We're only going to do 1. But that 1 is going to be good enough because it is percent proportion. The number 1 strategy on our percent power ranking. So we have part over whole equals percent over 100. We're going to write that each time we use it. All right, we don't know the part. We don't know it. So we're going to put a big circle where the part would go. We do know the whole. The whole is 32. And we do know the percent, which is 25 out of 100. Now, unfortunately, we can't get from 100 to 32 directly. We're going to have to do a little dividing. So what can we divide 25 and 100 by? Well, I'm thinking about my 9 numbers. And we could divide by 5 because I know 5 goes into 25, but 100 divided by 5 is 20, and 20 is not going to really help us get to 32. But we can also divide by 25 because 25 is one of our 9 numbers. So we can just go ahead and divide by that. That's going to simplify that down all the way. It's going to make it a whole lot easier to work with. 25 divided by 25 is 1. 100 divided by 25 well, think quarters, it'd be 4, which is nice because now we can get right from 4 to 32 by multiplying by 8. And we can do the same thing on top. Well, what's 1 times 8? It would be $8. So this person would save $8 by buying the sweater this week. Now, my question would be, well, how much does the sweater cost? Some might say it's $8, but $8 is how much was saved. So you do 32 minus 8. The sweater would cost $24 with the discount. But that's not really what we're trying to find. We're trying to find the savings. And that's going to be the $8. That's the savings. All right, so on the next one, if you want to try the next one on your own, or if you want to just kind of do it a little bit ahead of me as I'm doing it, that's fine. It's going to be a similar type of problem, but maybe we're missing a different thing. Maybe we're not missing the part this time. A pair of jeans was 30% off the original price. The sale resulted in a $24 discount. So the question says, is the original price of the jeans considered the whole, part, or percent? Well, let's think about what numbers we have. The 30% is definitely the percent. I 100% believe in that. Okay? Now it says the sale resulted in a $24 discount. Let's think about that $24. Now that's the discount. That's the amount that was taken off the price of the jeans. So that's not the whole price, but that's just part of the price. It says, is the original price considered the whole, part, or percent? Well, that kind of gives us a clue just there. The original price is the whole, because we saw the part was the discount, and then the percent is the percent. It says, what was the original cost of the jeans before the sale? So the discount was $24. That is not the cost of the jeans. We're going to try to find the cost of the jeans before the sale. All right, so we're going to use a percent proportion here. Again, if you want to try this one on your own, go for it. If not, that's fine. You can do it with me. So let's set this thing up. We have the part. The part is 24. We have the whole. Well, we don't have the whole. Pardon me. We don't have the whole. We're looking for the whole. That's going to be the total cost of the jeans before the sale. We do know the percent, and it is 30 out of 100. Okay, well, there's a couple different numbers we can divide by here because we can't get from 30 to 24 in one step. We're going to have to simplify this. So I guess I'm thinking about the 30 and I'm thinking about 24. Can I get from 30 to 6? Yes. We divide by 5, which is one of our 9 numbers, so we can divide the top and bottom by 5 to get to 6. We could also divide by 10. If we divide by 10, we'll get to 3, and if we get 3, we'll be able to get to 24. Either of those would work. I think it's just those two, 10 or 5. I'm going to do 10, just because I think 10s are easy to work with, just a little bit easier than 5s. So I'm going to divide by 10. Because I know I'll get to 3, and I can definitely get from 3 to 24. So let's divide by 10. Let's divide by 10. 30 divided by 10 is 3. Nice. 100 divided by 10 is 10. Oh, look at that. Now we can get from 3 to 24, multiplying by 8. And then we can multiply 10 by 8. 10 times 8 would be 80. So that's going to be the cost of the jeans before the sale. This was like the original price. Original price. $80. But that's a good amount of savings. $24 off of an $80 pair of jeans. Not bad. All right, last one we're going to do today. Same type of deal here. It says purchasing a TV that is 20% off will save $180. All right, so, the 20%, that's the percent. So you're going to save $180. So we're thinking, is that the whole price or part of the price? I'm thinking that that's the part of the price, because normally you wouldn't save the entire price and it's only 20% off. If it was 100% off, then you'd save the whole thing. But this is just $180 off. That's a pretty good deal. If you're getting $180 off the TV. So that's going to be the part, though. So it says name the different parts with words. Well, 20% off, that's the percent. I'm not going to write the whole word out because there's the symbol. The 180, we said that was the part. This word, or this phrase, original price, typically means the whole. All right, so it's asking what's the original price. That's the whole. That's what we're trying to find. And again, surprise, surprise, I'm going to use percent proportion. Part over whole equals percent over 100. This beautiful little strategy here. All right, let's look at what we have here. The part, we have the part. It's $180. That's how much was saved. We don't know the original price, but it's going to go here. That's the whole. Oh, I'm feeling good about this one because 20% is the percent out of 100. Now, we can get from 20 to 180 in one step. This is a one-stepper. We don't have to do 2 steps here, which is nice. If I think about just 2 for a second, 2 times what is 18? 2 times 9 would be 18. So 20 times 9 would be 180. So we're going to just multiply by 9. Nice. 100 times 9? 900. So that TV, the original price was $900. And you saved 180, so it brought it down to $720. Not too bad. All right, I hope you had a good time working with the percent proportion. I know I did. Remember, you can work on your Throwback Thursday or review packet. If you have any questions about either, please let me know. Hope to see you soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.